Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less to build your business. And today, our guest is Michelle Mazur. She founded Communication Rebel on the belief that communication changes the world. So that's what she helps business owners and speakers do. Rebel against the status quo to make a difference, one compelling message at a time. She's the author of 3 books, including the newly released 3-Word Rebellion, Create a One-of-a-Kind Message That Grows Your Business into a Movement, and the host of Rebel Rising podcast. Welcome, Michelle. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me, Cindy. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. And to begin with, can you share a personal or business challenge that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success?
Yes. And it's funny because this is a business challenge, but technically it's personal. And there was a time right before I figured out my message, the 3-Word Rebellion, and figured out my framework where I work with people, that right before that, and I think the reason that happened is that I realized that I was the biggest problem in my business. And I think every business owner will probably have this moment where you've taken all the courses, you've learned so many different things and techniques, and you're still not at that level of success because it literally at that point has nothing to do with you, and it has everything to do with how you're showing up. So for me, the big challenge, my big obstacle being me, was really struggling with the imposter complex and that voice in my head that was saying, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to do this? And don't be too big for your britches, and don't be too loud or too bossy, and all of that self-talk that it just made me feel like I just wasn't good enough for my work. People would compliment me, or I'd get amazing testimonials, and literally they just bounce right off of me. Bounce, bounce, bounce. I could not receive that. And when you're in the state of fearing that any second everybody's going to find out you're a fraud, it's really hard for you to step up into your success and really own your message and show up every single day and share that message and attract the clients that you really want to be working with. So I spent 9 months working with a coach around all of those issues so I could finally get out of my own way. And once I did that, it's the 3-Word Rebellion came to be, and here's a new service, and I'm pivoting the business into this direction of messaging and message strategy. And it's made a huge difference. And I think it's because of that personal work I did.
So if you don't mind saying, what is the 3-Word Rebellion?
Oh, sure. So the 3-Word Rebellion in a nutshell is this one-of-a-kind message that only you can give. It positions your business in a class all by itself. And the really cool thing, it's a message for your audience. It's a message for your people because it encapsulates the change that you want to create. And so some great examples, because everybody wants examples of 3-Word Rebellions, are things like Simon Sinek's Start With Why. This is a brilliant message that tells you where you should start, right? I know what I need to do next, but then makes us reflect and be like, what is my why? It has that curiosity. Or Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule. And that's the kind of thing where you hear it. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, what is that? And should I be following it? And I was on Google, figuring out what it was, watching her TED Talk. And I realized some of the best and brightest business owners who have the most successful businesses, distill what they do into just 3 words. And since with my PhD in communication, I was like, so interesting, and figured out a way to guide people to those words.
I love that. And you use the word rebellion. So how does being a rebel, how does that equate success for your business?
Yeah. So I believe that there is a lot of noise out in the business world. Everybody's talking, and it's a big echo chamber. They're kind of all saying the same things. But when you embrace that inner rebel, and you say to yourself, I see this happening in the industry and I don't like it. And I'm going to speak out against it and create a better way to do things. That makes you a rebel. Like, you might not have tattoos and funky colored hair or any of that. But for me, rebellion is really about figuring out how we can make the world better, how we can make our clients get better results, or how we can shake up our industry. And so that's what the rebellion is all about. And you're summarizing that in 3 words or 2 to 5 words, depending. I'm flexible.
You're flexible. 3 to 5 words. So that's what you said, 3 to 5 words, right? It should be.
Yeah.
So something that just really makes the point of what your business stands for. Now, whenever you have this 3-word rebellion, I take it then you should utilize it as your tagline and everywhere else?
Yes. I think the 3-word rebellion, when you have your own, it can serve as your tagline, the name of your signature program. It can be your own hashtag. It can be the name of your book. It's really should be used all throughout your business, because this is what you want to be known for. Simon Sinek is known for Start With Why, and his business since then, Start With Why, has its own life out in the world now, and he can go off and do other things and write other books, and he has this thriving business and this message that is working for him. And that's what the 3-word rebellion should be doing. So you want to use it everywhere, because that is going to be how other people spread your message and find out about you. The funny story I have about this, I was at an event, a conference, and all of a sudden I heard somebody scream from across the room, you're the 3-word rebellion woman. And I'm like, yes, I am. And that is strange and also kind of cool that you don't know my name, but you know what I'm about and what I do.
Exactly. And that's so important. I mean, even with Start With Your Why. They're catchy little phrases that people will start repeating. 3-word rebellion, start with your why, the 5-minute rule, all of that. So or the 5-second rule. So all of that is part of the rebellion, but it's really a huge visibility factor.
Yes. Well, and I think the thing is, it allows us to become radically consistent with our message, because we're always showing up with the same thing. And business owners especially feel like they always have to create the wheel, recreate it, I've done this thing once, I can never do it again. And the people who are running super successful businesses, you hear them with the same message, the same kind of talking points, the same stories over and over and over again, because nobody's paying attention. So most of us don't even know that that's what's happening, that we're hearing it for the 10th time, because we're not ever fully present. And sometimes it just takes a while for things to sink in. But because of that repetition, they get known for it. And you know what? When your messaging is in place, everything gets easier in your business. You're not sitting there going oh man, what am I going to talk about today? No, you know exactly the conversations you need to create to grow your audience, or to, generate some new clients, or to close some new clients. You know what you need to be saying when you have that messaging in place.
So very, very important. And I know that you share 2 steps that anybody needs to be recognized and known for their work. Can you share what those 2 steps are?
Yes, this is my really flippant 2 steps to being influential. So the first step of this is accept the fact that you are an expert. So it kind of goes back to my imposter complex story. We spend so much time doubting what we're going to say. Like, oh, should I say that? Will people like it? Does it make sense? Oh, so-and-so talks about something similar, so maybe I shouldn't. And it's like, no, you have something to say. You have expertise. It is your job to put it out into the world with your own unique spin on it. And then once you accept that, you create the message and show up with it every day. It's actually pretty boring work to become known for your work because it's like, I'm an expert, I'm showing up, and I'm talking about the same things again and again.
I know I heard once that whenever you're talking about the same thing over and whenever you start getting bored with your own stuff, that's whenever people are finally just starting to get it.
I know. It's like, oh, you're bored with it? Great. Keep going for about 2 more years.
Yeah, but I love that. And Michelle, I know that you have 5 principles of influence. So can you share what those 5 principles are and a little bit about each one?
Yes. So the first one is answering the question, who do you think you are? So going back to that, accept the fact that you're an expert and have an answer. And I call this I'm the one who knocks. It's based off of Breaking Bad. Walter White has this speech where he's like in his power telling his wife that he is this he's basically Breaking Bad, right? But he just goes for it and tells her all that he's accomplished. And I feel like we each need that speech for ourselves, for other people, to let people know that, hey, I'm incredible. Like, I have a PhD in communication. I've written 3 books. I've seen hundreds of clients. Like, I am the one who knocks. And there's such power in that. Mm-hmm. And once you have that, it's something you can always refer to when the gremlins in your head say something or somebody says something crappy to you online. You know how that goes. But you have that. And so that's your credibility, your expertise. And so moving into the second is really knowing that driving force behind why you want to be influential. And this goes a little bit to start with why, but for me, it's a little bit bigger than that because I feel like you can have multiple whys. But why do you want to go out and influence people? How is that impacting them? How is it impacting you? So for me, like one of my driving whys is that communication changes the world. But another one is that I believe well-resourced women change the world. That when women have a bigger audience, they have support, they have money, they become an unstoppable force for good. And I want to be a part of creating that for women. And why that's a principle of influence is because other people are going to be attracted to you and want to stick around in your business because they know it's just not about the money, right? Like it always feels crappy when you're just a number or like a dollar amount. And so this allows people to stick around. The third is about rebellion, surprise, surprise, but this is sharing your rebel truth. So this is being bold and brave and sharing out like what you're rebelling against because people are craving truth tellers. They're craving unique perspectives. And you shouldn't be hiding that stuff because influential people have very strong viewpoints. So find out what ticks you off and share it with people. But this also goes into conjunction with the fourth principle, which is really painting what is possible for your people, because it's not enough to say things like, oh man, this sucks, or I hate this type of marketing. I wish people wouldn't do it anymore. But what do you want to see instead? What's the change you are creating by that rebellion, by taking a stand in the status quo, what works better, like telling us that, because that gets us into like you sharing how you work with people, sharing your solution, and we want to know what your vision is. People follow others when they have a clear vision for change. We don't follow people who have no clue where they're going. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. Hey, I'm just going to rant about stuff. It's like, no, I want to know what the vision is, because that's compelling. And it doesn't matter how you accomplish it, because you're going to need other people probably to get it done. But it's just putting it out there so other people can be like, oh, yes, I want to be a part, and creating that space for them to say that. And then the final principle of influence is letting people know what you do. And I know this sounds so obvious, because we are so good at saying like, here's the problem and here's the vision for change I have for you. And I am not going to tell you how to work with me, or what that process looks like, or what my specific solution is. I'm just going to hide that away. And people with influence want others to know how they solve the problem, how they see they can get change going in other people's lives. We don't hide that away. We're proud, we're freakishly excited to share it. And when we have that excitement and passion, and we're clear about what we do, then people respond, and it helps build your business. So those are the 5. I could go on all day about them, but I won't.
I love those. Thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, I know we could usually go on all day with our own messages.
I know, right?
But it's so much fun. I could go on all day with you too. But Michelle, I know that you have a strategy that business owners can implement in 15 minutes or less to build their business. So can you share that strategy with us?
My favorite thing to do to like find my message, or even just to kind of refresh myself, I love free writing. And anytime I need to create some content or get some new ideas, I will ask myself 2 questions, and then I will just free write on them. And I already gave you one of the questions if you're listening, because these are core to the 3-word rebellion. But one of them is, what ticks you off? And just let yourself go, put your pen to paper. Do not think your brain is your enemy with this, and just write and see what comes out. And then answer the second question. And this is a prompt that I just love so much. I want to live in a world where, and just start every sentence with, I want to live in a world where, da, 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 and just let it flow, because so many good content ideas will come from that. And it will, and if you're feeling bored and stale with your message, it's a way that it allows you to stay on message, but also kind of create some newness for yourself.
It's all about creating.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Getting out of that boring thing, asking those questions, I can see how to create new ideas for your messaging, to where you're still saying the same thing, just in a different way.
Yeah, a different angle, or maybe there's something new you discover about it that you want to talk about, like, I never made this connection, or I didn't see it this way before, because our messages can reveal so much to us as we start getting to know them a little bit better.
I love it. Thank you. And Michelle, I know that you have a wonderful gift for our listeners. Can you share what it is?
Yes. So if you love the idea of free writing, I'm giving away all of my 3-word rebellion free writing prompts, so that you can figure out your one-of-a-kind message, or just get refreshed and re-energized and get some great ideas for what you can talk about.
I love it. All of your prompts. And I know free writing, journaling is so important to get out of your head and really get into your heart. And that's where your message lives. And that's where I think your purpose lives. Mm-hmm. So to our listeners, you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Michelle M. That's all lowercase, MICHELLEM, as in her last name, Mazur. So Michelle M. And then grab your own 3-word rebellion prompts. And Michelle, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
Yes. Be bold and you will prosper. Rebellion is the way to be known for the work that you do in the world and be recognized as an expert.
Love it. Thank you very much. And thank you for being my guest today, Michelle.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, if you enjoyed today's show, feel free to share it with your friends. You'll want to hop on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Michelle M. That's all lowercase, MICHELLEM. And you'll find all of the links from today's show. You'll also be able to re-listen to Michelle's words of wisdom. You can catch up on past episodes that you might have missed. And while you're there, be sure to grab your own 3-word rebellion prompts. So I hope you have a fantastic week, and be sure to tune in next week with another amazing guest. Big hugs.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.